Hi all, welcome back to more Labyrinth. Playing the extended campaign solo. This is my part 12. Okay, next again day, and I got stumped right at the beginning of this turn with the first card draw. Homegrown, wanted to place a sale in the United Kingdom. I seem to spend an awful lot of time making a decision on how to do it because there was no sales on the funding track. I couldn't find anything, and I think I'm just trying to find something that's not there. If there's no sales on the funding track, you can't carry out this event. I mean, I think it's as straightforward as that. Let's hope so. So anyway, we carried on looking through things, and because there's no sales on the funding track, I want to say we get down to travel here, isn't it? Sale available, no travel. So we go down to here, and then we come across the travel, and we're going to travel to that doesn't apply. Yeah, that's right. That's for just recruiting, not for traveling. And Good Muslim. This is where we got to. We got to Good Muslim. And again, I came back here, and the reason I stopped at Good Muslim is because we have a Good Muslim country, Pakistan. This is the travel to country. So, and I stopped myself there thinking, right, I was getting at the end of the night anyway for me, it was the last part. And I stopped myself there wondering if I should try and travel to there, because there's 6 sales there. Benazir Bhutto's in play on that country, which means that they can't do a jihad there. I want to say the main purpose of Putin sales in that country is to carry out a jihad, or a major jihad for that matter. First of all, it would have to get the good to poor, wouldn't it? But it would do that through jihads, but it can't do it while Benazir Bhutto's there. So should we consider it as a travel destination? And I sort of override the fact that I shouldn't consider this country anymore for jihad. What is it? A jihad success possible, or even a Dyro modifier. A best jihad Dyro modifier. I shouldn't consider this country because it doesn't really make any sense. Even the question I put out there, the guy, Zod, came back. Well, you can't do jihad there, and he's got a fair point, but the rules don't seem to cover it. And I think this looks like a game that certain events that are in play, that maybe the solo bot rules can't sort of deal with it in a way that, you'd need to consider every possibility for every possible event. It'd be a lot. There's a lot in that. I mean, they have tried to cover lots of things, a lot of the event instructions, that take care of the certain events. But I mean, that wasn't one of them. I don't think it was. We did look Benazir Bhutto, didn't we? I can't remember what number it was. Doesn't look like it's on this list. Did it get removed? No, it didn't either. Not wasting my time here, to be honest. Right, it's card 33. There's nothing about card 33 there. So, I mean, but you do feel like we shouldn't be trying to do this in that country. So, however, last night I thought, well, I'm wrapping things up here, but before I head off to bed, let's put a question out there. So my question, pretty long-winded. Okay, I'm having quite a dilemma on how to deal with the bot activities when Benazir Bhutto, which stops any jihad operation in Pakistan, is in play. With this event in play, the literal reading of the rules can have you want to recruit and travel sales into Pakistan, which appears to be a suboptimal choice. And while I just pause there, in previous games, the bots can do things. The AI can do things in these games that sometimes you're not allowed to play in the 2-player game and whatever. They do get to cheat a little bit, as we'll come to the reply that I got. Tends to look along that lines as well. And I've always looked at that myself and thought, you know what, let's do it. It's suboptimal, yes, but it might surprise you, and you know what, they get to cheat a little bit with other things, so why not just do it? It sort of sits uncomfortable a little bit with this, but that the only reply I've had sort of backs that up as well. But anyway, I'll carry on. Now, if there is some ruling that can take care of this matter, then please let me know. You know, I'm asking just in case there is something out there in the rules that would say that, no, you can't target this for travel or recruit purposes because, you know, if it's written somewhere. And I carry on. Would you play these operations as per the rules, or would you override such operations and move on to the next country and the priorities as it makes more sense? So I'm asking the question there. I'm sure there could also be other events out there that could cause some similar issues. And then I finish off with, I'm very much a solo player and I struggle with having to make choices in my games that aren't written in the rules. I know many of you out there have no trouble in this department and I envy you all. So I'd prefer a written rule that is somewhere out there that can take care of this dilemma for me. Any help would be appreciated. So I only got one reply, and that was posted. It was posted yesterday evening, and this is the following late afternoon. And it was from Tim. He said, most bots end up making suboptimal choices under certain circumstances, but I feel this is balanced out by the fact that the bot gets to cheat. For example, in Labyrinth, the bot does not trigger US events and gets extra reserves for playing unassociated events. Some people prefer to override the bot in these situations to make it harder on themselves. So he's just left it at that. And my reply was, I was hoping you weren't going to say that, but thanks for your thoughts. Because, yeah, I really wanted some. I mean, I'm not knocking his reply. I wanted something more, I suppose. But it sounds like Tim doesn't believe there is any more. You know, there's not a rule there that says, oh, you should do this instead of that. Now, yeah, he makes a fair point about the fact the bot gets to cheat and stores its reserves. And in actual fact, the previous bot was even worse because it not only played the event, the unassociated event, but it then used the ops points to do to carry out operations, or was it just for radicalization? No, I think it just used them for actual ops, so it got both the best of both worlds. So it was even worse. It's not quite as bad now. If you remember, he put the reserves in the reserves box, that is, Grant. But okay, but well, thanks for your comment, Tim. I'm still not sure how I'm going to treat this. Yeah, I'm sort of stuck. Right, so while I ponder on what I'm going to do here, because I do have an hour or so, maybe a couple of hours at most, actually, so I'd like to try and create a couple of parts if I can. But a couple of comments also from Tim, part 6 at the 29-minute 54-second mark. Well, actually, let me read the previous, the other one first. At the 28-minute mark, he says, you forgot to add the 3 ops from GTMO to the Jadis reserves, which I replied, I've got that in the header. Yeah, I've noted it. He also comments on the one in part 7 as well, which I left in the header as well. And then he says, yeah, maybe I should check the header before posting these comments. But it does no harm doing it. But I like to be able to know myself that I've seen the mistake myself, and it makes me feel a little bit better about it. But if you want to post a comment, and there, a lot of people maybe don't look at the headers of the videos and see what's what. I mean, I should really have, and it's what I used to do way back when I first started doing these recordings, is edit some text into the part where I'm making the mistake, saying that. But I find it was an awful lot of hard work. I think I might have been doing it the hard way, and there's maybe easier ways of adding these subtitles later. If anybody knows how to do that easily after you've created the video, then let me know. But I just found that the way I was trying to do it, I had to do it while I was putting the video together, and it was awful. It took more time than it was worth. That's why I just put the comments in the headers. But they're not as easy to sort of look at then. You know, if it came up on the screen, okay, Grant forgot to put reserves into the reserves box right now, you know, blah blah blah, then yeah, fair enough. Right, well, this other comment he's brought up, though, and I haven't looked at this yet, because I have sort of replied with, interesting, we'll have to have a look at this. Well, I should read the comment first. 29 minute 54 second. Since you're using the Awakening bot and not the base game bot, you should be referring to 12.0 in the Awakening rules rather than 9.0 in the base game rules for clarifications in the flowchart. And yeah, he's very right there in that fact. And I feel when he's pointed this out, I'm glad you pointed it out, Tim, because I now need to be doing this. I think just over the last part or so I started looking at it a bit more, but there is quite a bit of information. I mean, I have read through this, but while I'm now following the bot, this is where I should be looking. This is the Awakening rules for the Jihadist bot, and you can see we've got all that. Rule 12, is it 11 and 12? No, it's Rule 12. But I mean, there's a bit of the page there, not much. A full page of text there, and then this column here, oops, and then it moves on to the US bot, which I'm not concerned about just now. But there is quite a bit in this, and this is what's relevant to if I'm using the version 2 flowchart, the Awakening flowchart. I need to look at this, not the other book, and he's right. So, and he says it does not have the stipulation that the bot will not attempt to recruit if GTMO is in play. So it does not have the stipulation that the bot will not. Yeah, let's get GTMO out just now. Right, so I just brought this out of the discard pile again. This was the card that I forgot, the first card that I forgot to put in the reserves, but that's not really what we're talking about. It's the operation that I carried out here, because this card says roll prestige, and it's an unassociated event. That's why we should have been adding the ops to the reserves afterwards, as long as we play the event. And we did play the event, because it's playable. Roll prestige, and then it says no recruit operations or detainee release the rest of this turn. Right, okay. So that's what it says in the card. Now, if we just check the event instructions table under 114, all it says is if US prestige is low, we would treat this event as unplayable. That would mean that it wouldn't be, because we roll in prestige, if we're down here, it doesn't feel like it's worthy of rolling in prestige, because we'd still be down here anyway. So it's not really gaining the bot anything. But we weren't down low at the time, so we did carry out the event. So what he's saying here, he says, and what he's referring to now is Rule 12, which is where I should be reading, and somewhere in there, right, I've got that one. Somewhere in there, what he's saying is, it does not have the stipulation that the bot will not attempt to recruit if GTMO is in play. So I'm thinking it would choose to recruit, but then since it can't, it would spend the points on radicalisation. He does finish with, or I could be totally off base. I said interesting, we'll have to have a look at this. And yes, I think I have been neglecting the Solo Awakening rules. It does surprise me that there is no rolling in the event instruction table regarding GTMO for the bot. Yeah, because I actually think the bot wouldn't really want to play this event. I mean, they're all in prestige, maybe, but I mean, it's really hampers them. It really hampers them. So, and remember, if this was in a jihadist player, like another player's hand, would you really want to play that as a jihadist player? Wouldn't you just play it for the 3 ops and not play the event? Anyway, so what he's saying there is that it would try. Now, what we came down to with that, if I recall rightly, we couldn't recruit, and now where does it tell us in the book for that? If you can't recruit, it'll travel. It tells us that somewhere. Right, give me a second. I realise what he's saying, because I'm looking through this, and like he says, it does not have the stipulation that the bot will not attempt to recruit And that, what he's meaning is, look at the rules that you're meant to be following, Grant. And what Grant was looking at was 9.0 in their base rules. And it says, and it's under 9 point, this is on page 12 of the base rules, 9.4.1. That very last sentence there, if no cells are available or if GTMO is in effect, travel. Yeah. No cells are available, GTMO is in effect, travel. So hang on here. Yeah, but that's if it's trying to do a recruit. I'm just thinking back to homegrown that says place a cell. That's a different thing. Yeah, that's an event trying to do it. But this is, I've read that in here, and that's not, he's saying it's not in this. It's not in this other event or ops. Let's go that there. Yeah, see, it doesn't have that, does it? So he's saying that we should probably have looked at radicalization instead than doing the travel. Now we've not actually carried that out yet. So, but it's here as well. So on the next page 9, radicalization. If the jihadist bot performs no operation or an operation using fewer ops than the card's ops value, and this card's ops value is 2, perform radicalization operations as follows with any remaining ops using reserves if possible. Sorry, I'm looking at the card we're looking at now. That's irrelevant. It was regarding the GTMO event, wasn't it? As follows with any remaining ops using reserves if possible until a total of 3 cells rolls have been used with the card. Right, so hang on, I'm still a bit confused here. No, of course, it wasn't the playing of GTMO. GTMO was in effect. Has he got a timestamp? He has, hang on. Right, so the card was HEU I was trying to play at the time. So yeah, then I go away looking at the older bot rulebook to find this GTMO. It's a little strange that they didn't pass that across into the new rules, but not impossible. I mean, it's definitely not there. So the event was unplayable because it's a. Well, I'm not going to get the card out. The event was unplayable that it was trying to do, and it was a 2 ops card. Is that right? You know what? I might not be at the right bit. Hang on. Yeah, we are kind of stuck here. I think Tim could be right because we can't play the event. I'm not going to hunt out the event. The event was unplayable. The flowchart using the 2 points of the event that was unplayable, or considering it as a 2 ops card, takes us right through to here, to recruit. GTMO is in effect. We cannot recruit. So, what do we do? There's no point coming up here because we can't recruit. It doesn't matter. Now, me looking at the old rule book says if GTMO is in effect, we just travel, and then that's where I went from there. I'm probably going to have to leave that. But, just looking at the chart there, it says, that leaves us stuck. We're sitting with 2 ops points, and we've nothing to do. And we can't just discard the card and not do nothing. And I think if I'd realised that, I think I would have came to this. But because I looked at the old rulebook, it says, GTMO's in effect, not a problem. Right, travel, let's just do it. But, yeah, you need to keep away from the old bot, Grant, I think. We might just need to mean, I know it's the rule book for the base game, so I can't just chuck it completely out of the way, but we would just move it out of range a little bit. Because it says radicalization with all unused ops values. It'll do this, and it would also have grabbed any from reserves, and at that point, there would have been reserves because there should have been because of the GTMO card, but I forgot. So I added them and used them up at another time, but they would have got used here as well, I think. So if selling US and WMD put in US, then yeah, see. Do you do one of these? Because you used to do just one of each of these. Radicalization. Right, maybe I need it. Maybe I need it in the actual rule book. Yeah, what does it say? If jihadist bot performs no operations on an operation using fewer ops than the card's ops value, perform radicalization operations follow with eliminating ops using reserves if possible until a total of 3 cells/rules have been used with the card. No, never use only reserves for radicalization operation, right? No, a cell on the map, not the track, is eligible to perform a radicalization operation only if it has not already performed an operation on the current card. Likewise, a cell may only participate in one radicalization operation. First, if any cells are in the US and one or more WMD plots are available, plot in the US with many cells as possible. Okay, then, right, if that doesn't apply, then move on to the next one. If US posture is hard and there's no global war on terror relations penalty, which is the case at the moment, that would have been the case, travel to as many unmarked non-Muslim countries as possible, 1 cell each, choosing the origin first, using the travel from priorities of the OP, then you'd move on. See, I think that's maybe what would happen. Would you use the reserves up and try to travel 3 cells to unmarked non-Muslim countries based on the travel from priorities. So it look here first. Well, how would it get the travel to? Travel to as many unmarked. Choosing the origin first. Choosing the origin first. Okay, usually it does it the other way about, isn't it? So travel from, and then how would it decide the? Would it just randomise which non-Muslim country it was moving to? Choosing unmarked. Travel to as many unmarked non-Muslim countries as possible. Choosing the origin first using travel from priorities. Yeah. Well, that's a bit of a shame, that, because I think that's what probably would have happened. And, well, that would end up being better than travelling. I think he'd travelled 2 cells. I think that's when we travelled the last 2 cells from Afghanistan to Pakistan, maybe. I think that's what happened. No, because yeah, no, it could have been that, because I think that was maybe before Benazir Bhutto showed up, to be honest. I think that's what happened. Yeah, I feel he's got that right there, because there's certainly nothing that tells you about GTMO being in play. Sort of strange that they removed that from the original. If you think about it, GTMO is in play. Well, not really, Grant. That makes it better for them, I think, doesn't it? GTMO is not as in play, then they just select a travel operation, whereas they could have went through that radicalization and done a lot more harm, I think. Okay, thanks for that, Tim. Hopefully going to switch me on to that. I don't think I can really fix that, can I? It was too far back. So I'm going to have to leave that, but just be switched on to keeping away from the older rulebook. Because if I'm going to read things in there that are not in the newer rulebook, then that's silly. Okay, we'll leave that at that. I think that was all the comments for now. Right, but you still have your dilemma about Pakistan. I wish more people had maybe chimed in with something. So, literally by the rules, we're going to have followed this flowchart using 2 ops points to get travel to a good Muslim country, which is Pakistan. So we're going to attempt to travel 2 sails. We can't travel adjacent because Afghanistan's last sail and it's an auto-recruit country. The next option is an auto-recruit country. Again, it cannot be Afghanistan. It can be Iraq. So they would attempt to travel 2 sails from Iraq to Pakistan. And in actual fact, hang on, they'll use the reserves to make that 3. That's what's going to happen if I don't overrule Pakistan being selected. If Pakistan is not selected, then I think they're going to travel to the Gulf states, because the next priority would be fair Muslim with best jihad DRM. And remember, best jihad DRM is based on awakening reaction markers. We've not got any of them yet. This is the only fair. Hang on, we've got 2 fair good. Fair good, yeah. This is only fair country. It is a fair Muslim country with the best. Well, it's only fair Muslim country where it's the best jihad DRM. So it would travel there, and the thing is, it would automatically. Now hang on, Pakistan could travel from, couldn't it? So adjacent would be the travel from, whereas Iraq and Pakistan are both adjacent to the Gulf states. So you need to find a priority down the travel from table here. So not destinations. That means it would prefer not to go to its own country where it starts. You know, if we were trying to travel within the country, that's what it means. Yeah, Islamist rule: no, poor then fair then good. Sorry, this is the travel from poor then fair then good. So it would travel from the poor country. So I keep the cells in the good country, the better countries, to try and disrupt them. You know, with their means. Know that jihad can happen in here, as we know. So yeah, so in that case, it would then automatically travel 3 cells. I would use the reserves up, automatically travel 3 cells to the Gulf states. So it's either 3 cells automatically go in there, or we roll to travel 3 cells from Iraq to Pakistan. I don't know what to do. Right, okay, I'm going to go against how I would normally want to look at this. I would normally want to literally follow the rules. Like I say, I do wish I had more sort of comments and thoughts on how you would all do this. And I'd be absolutely really curious. I wonder if you could create, you know, the app that runs the bot here. I'm just wondering, that's what Zod had said, it'd be interesting to know what the bot, the app, how it runs, how it would deal with Benazir Bhutto, and would it try and recruit into Pakistan, and would it even try travelling into Pakistan? Is there any way you can mess about with the app so you could try set that scenario up? I don't think so, is there? You've just got to go with that. Maybe I should have a look. Okay, hang on. Right, I found the app, installed it on my machine, and I thought I could maybe, but the only way I could do this is replaying the game by putting in the card numbers, seeing what happened, but it's going to take me an awful long time to do that. I mean, I would just need the card numbers, I think. Well, not just the card numbers, operations that I'm going to carry out. Well, it would take care of the operations for the bot. I would have to make some decisions I've not got time to do all that. I wanted to enjoy some gameplay. Right, well, you've got to make your mind up whether I might go back and look at my video footage and see where that took me. So I think I'm going to override what I said in the rules, and I'm not going to go to Pakistan. I just feel silly going to Pakistan. So okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to override that and say that it's not going to a good Muslim country. It's going to a fair Muslim with the best jihad DRM, and it's going from adjacent. And when we go from adjacent, we come to the priority from poor, then fair, then good. So it's going to come from Iraq. That sleeper cell would be the first one to move. And then, hold on, we would be taking the reserves there as well to get the most out of that. So the cost of the ops was 2, so that takes it up to 3. So 1, 2, 3. Moving these cells into Gulf states. Remember, the sleeper cell would go first to put it to... the active cell would go first to put it back as a sleeper. Okay. Yeah, I'm quite uncomfortable with that, to be honest. Right, so I was away for a bit there, and I'm giving up with that idea. I thought I'll try running the cards through the app and see what happens. The first 4 cards went fine and done as we did. And then the 5th card, which was the second phase of the jihadist, the bot wanted to travel from Afghanistan to Russia. And I'm like, so I don't know if I got things wrong. I mean, why would it have picked travel to start with? The card was oil price spikes, which was it was unplayable, and the main reason it was unplayable was, the reason it was unplayable was because we played that the door is closed thing. So, and it was a non-US event, so it made it unplayable. This would have been a no, this would have been a no. I don't understand how it could have got to travel. Unless it came down here. No, but then it travelled one cell to Russia, which is rather random, isn't it? Travelled to non-Islamic rule, Pakistan. I mean, Pakistan, why would it not just travel to Pakistan? How's it travelling to Russia? You know what? I'm not sure. Unless I've inputted the wrong card or something. Or inputted the wrong details to start the game. Well, I'm getting too bogged down here. I'm just going to carry on because I wanted to get a gameplay. It looks like I'm only going to get one part done now. The time it's taking me when I pause and go and try and find these things out. I'm going to stick my guns here and say that we're not going to do things in Pakistan that are detrimental to the bot regarding jihad. Meaning travelling cells, recruiting cells. It just seems like it's not a clever idea. Looking at they've got FATA in there as well, which means we can't disrupt the cells. So that sort of suggests to you, well, why don't you put the cells in there if they can't be disrupted? That's starting to make me think now. Oh no disrupt unless regime change. Because all these cells could be in there, and then they could start travelling. This is a real pain. Yeah, I'm starting to doubt myself again here. Maybe I should just stick by what it says in the rules, because I'm looking at that FATA thinking if they've got all these cells in Pakistan, okay, they can't jihad, but we can't target the cells to disrupt them. Whereas we can in the likes of Iraq, or right this moment if we put these into the Gulf states. It looks like it. I didn't think I was going to come across something so soon that had me choosing to have to make a decision. Right, one of these was active, wasn't it? Right, okay. Let's step back then and let's do the travel attempts into Pakistan with 3 of these cells. Now, these are attempts. Pakistan's good though as well. Grant, you can't keep thinking about what you would do if you were the bot right now. You've got to either do it one way or the other. I'm struggling. Because, I mean, the reason it wants to pick good Muslim first is because it wants to get cells in there to carry out a jihad. Right? And that's why I feel like it's silly to travel the cells. And we've got to roll ones on the dice to make it happen. Just because Fatah's there. If Fatah wasn't there, Grant, you would be seriously saying, "No, I'm not going to travel cells to Pakistan. They're going to the Gulf states." Just because you've seen Fatah there, you think the cells are going to be safe if they get there. They're unlikely to. Well, we might get lucky and get a one, or maybe 2 ones at the most. But this would be an auto travel for them. It just so feels like this is the better play for them. I hate making decisions though. Okay. I'll leave it as it was. Right, I'm going to leave it as it was, right? So we use the reserves up there to do that. I hope I don't keep getting more of these sort of decisions that I'm going to have to make. That's going to frustrate me. Right, that was our first card played. That seemed to take an awful long time to play that first card. Right, so second card for them is Bin Laden. I want to feel that was there not something blocking Bin Laden? No. Maybe not. Maybe I'm imagining something else. No, I can't see it out there anyway. Right, so this is an unassociated event. So remember to add the reserves if we play the event, Grant. So what does it say? High value target number 1. US may play... Well, actually, it's not the US bit we're going to look at. If jihadists play -2 prestige or -4 prestige if any Islamist rule. Well, yeah, this is going to be played for the event. So let us have a look at Bin Laden. So 112. Here we are. Right, where are we? We're here. Yeah, okay. I can't see very much because it's all glary because of the lamp. Right, Bin Laden, with the Al-Qaeda leaders escape from US-backed forces in Afghanistan in late 2001 and retreat into hiding, his degree of control over the movement and even his life or death began topics of worldwide speculation. Periodic recordings of him delivered to the media, sometimes video, more often audio, helped answer the latter question to the US chagrin. Okay, so unassociated event. Unassociated event. Playable non-US event. Yeah, play the event. Is it unassociated? Yes. Add the card's value to Jihad reserve. So we're going to add 3. But in fact, you know what? I'm going to do that now while I remember. So we're going to add that at the end of playing this event. The event's reasonably straightforward though, isn't it? It's just -2 to funding. There's not a Islamist rule country at the moment. So if jihad is played -2 prestige or -4 if Islamist rule. So it's -2 prestige. We drop down to 10. Fortunately keeping us still in very high. Then we add the 2 reserves, and then so you can see it would only be removed if we played it for the US then, is that right? Yeah. Like I say, removing these cards is probably irrelevant because we're not going to shuffle this deck up. But it does seem to say US may play if no Islamist rule, Fatah, or we've got Fatah in play, haven't we? So the US wouldn't be able to play this. I think that's maybe where I read about Fatah. It doesn't say it on the little counter, but US may play with no Islamist rule. Well, there's no Islamist rule, but Fatah is in play. -4 funding, +1 prestige, and then remove the card. But we're not doing that because we've done it for the jihadist player. Right, okay, over to our turn, and I've not even looked at my cards yet. So let me do that and lay them out first. Right, so here's my, well, we drew 8 cards. Yeah, that one I don't think can be played by me either. Right, I think there's only 2 cards that are unplayable but for me at the moment. So just looking from left to right, I guess. We got pretty decent. We've only got 1 jihadist card, 3 unassociated cards, and the other 4 that we drew are US, and then we've also got Ethiopia strikes. Right, this says place a cell each in Pakistan and India, and it's blocked by Indo-Pakistani talks, which is not in play. So that's bad for us. And if we play that for ops, we're gonna, yeah, that's gonna trigger the event. Tora Bora, play with at least 2 cells in a regime change country. There is in Iraq. Remove the 2 cells, roll prestige, and draw a card, and then remove this card. Rolling prestige is a bit dodgy, you know. Removing 2 cells, obviously straight up remove them. We don't need to activate them and whatever. Right, Zawahiri. This is unplayable for us, and because Fatah's in play, where does it tell us? I mean, Fatah's in play in Pakistan, where there's no disrupt unless it's regime change. There's nothing. It doesn't say that on the card, but it'd be an awful lot of information I had to add. There's no Islamist rule, but Fatah is in place. I'm understanding this isn't playable. If it was, we'd be able to play it for -2 funding and then remove the card. Okay, and then the final, an associated card. Play if both sides have cards beyond this one. Yeah, hang on. This has got text. This is the only card that I've got that has got some instructions on the table. Play if both sides have cards beyond this one. Trade random cards, then conduct an operation with this card. So you do that and then trade 1. Conduct 1. So 97 fatwa. So play event if possible, then select op using Evo as if on. Hang on, that's if the jihadist bot. Eh? So, but if we play this card, trade random cards. Yeah, I mean, I think what happens is we would just randomize a card, and remember, whenever you do something with the jihadist box deck, you just take the top card. So we would trade this card for one of our random cards. I'm not so sure I'd be able to do that anyway, because the next card, enhanced measures, which is a US event, I thought might be in the instruction table as well, but it's not, and that's because you just take the top. You just do the top card. But if US hard and disrupt possible, it is. So it says disrupt once, then take a random card from the jihadist hand, can be bought by week. So again, you would just take a card. I mean, take a card. I'm assuming we're getting it into our hand. So that seems pretty decent to steal a card from them. Right, moving on. Play if a Shia mixed regime change country as a cell. Yeah, improve governance there 1 level. So we could either make Afghanistan fair or Iraq fair, because it's changing the governance. It doesn't. I mean, I don't think it has to be allied to do it, to change the governance. I mean, it just straight up says on the card. I mean, normally if we were doing War of Ideas, we would need to shift that to ally first before being able to change its governance. But yeah, I might want to look into that a little. But it feels to me that I could just pick either of the countries and make them fair. So that's pretty strong. And then the last two, set Turkey to fair ally. Is that one? And then that one is test Egypt. Then -2 funding or -4 funding if no country under Islamist rule, which seems pretty strong as well. -4 funding. They're at 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'd take them down to 4. I mean, some cells are going to come back. I mean, right now they're not, so at the moment they can't recruit anyway, but still feel that maybe we should be playing that for the event. Okay, the situation we left the last time was, though, we had activated this cell in the hope that we were going to take that out. Now you need a 3-cost card there to do that, unless you're wanting to... Oh, no, there's another reason to want to take that cell out, Grant, because we can't do War of Ideas in there until we remove that cell, and we've got 5 troops more than cells. What I'd also kind of like to do first is maybe do that Al-Azhar and get the funding down into that box. Then when that cell goes back, am I not right in saying that they won't be able to recruit that cell in there if that funding marker's down there, isn't it? That's how that works, isn't it? I think I need to look at the base rules for this, but just remember, if you're looking at solo things, Grant, I think we just looked at this recently, didn't we? Right, let's go here. Yeah, we just read this example. So here's an example here. Funding is currently at 6. Only 3 cells of 15 are active in various countries. The ample box holds 5 unrecruited cells. That's that one. The moderate box, another 5 in the tight box, the remaining 2. The 7 cells in the tight and moderate boxes are available because the funding marker's in there. So it says only cells in a box below or to the left of the jihadist funding marker are available to be recruited. I kind of like the idea of doing that then, because if we put the cell back on there now, they can recruit it while that's there. Well, admittedly, I can play the cards in either order here. What else you want to do? You want to remove that cell. Yeah, so you're going to need a 3-cost card. Ugh, right. We are going to need a 3-cost card. We've only got 2 of them. Enhanced measures, play a few as hard, and disrupt possible, disrupt once, take a random card. Play if a Shia mix regime, change country as a cell, improve God. I mean, that's pretty good, isn't it? I don't want to take a chance and put things in reserves, and because then I can't do the Al-Azhar. I want to do the Al-Azhar this turn if I'm going to, because I want to knock that cell back. Play SUF. Should I just use this, maybe? Play FUS hard and disrupt possible. Disrupt once. Then take a random card from the jihadist hand. Can be bought by week. I mean, we might get a bad card from them. Seems pretty good though, Just looking back at this. Play if a Shia mix regime change country as a cell, improve governance there 1 level. I could use that to improve the governance in Afghanistan to fair. And then maybe keep the disrupt for next turn then. I'm doing that. Yeah, I'm doing that. So I'm going to play this Sistani for the event. Are you? Yeah, just leave the cell there then. Okay, I'm going to play this for the event. Just Stanny. I'm going to play 2 US events this turn, I think. So, what we got is Sistani, Shia Scholar Council's moderation. Play of a Shia mixed regime change country has a cell. Improved governance there, 1 level. Like I say, I think the better target for that would be Iraq because it's neutral, and taking the words that are written on the card, it doesn't say that it has to be allied to improve its governance here. This card just says play of a Shia mixed country has a cell and improve its governance there 1 level. But this is where we want to concentrate on just now, I think. So yeah, I'm going to do it in Afghanistan. So card 46. 21. 46. Would be almost seems to be across the other side here. Well, not always, but where are we? There? Yeah. Sistani, 2003 !, internationally revered quietist Shia Grand Ayatollah Ali al-Sistani delayed and tempered sectarian violence in Iraq by counselling peace and patience. He also provided religious sanction to Shia participation in nascent democracy while Iraq remained under foreign occupation. Yeah, sorry about some of my pronunciations. There are some words. Well, that should be throughout. To be honest, this whole game, my pronunciation of some words is going to be way off. So yeah, play of Shia mix regime change country has a cell. Improved governance there 1 level. This is a Shia mix regime change country. I'm going to improve it from poor to fair. So poor ally to fair ally. That goes away. We adjust the poor Islamic countries down to 6 and fair good countries up to 3. Okay, that's our first card play. And then our second card play is not going to be Ethiopia strikes. It's going to be this. Al-Azhar, Bastion of Islamic Moderation. That's going to be my second card play. It's card number 12. Let's have a look. Right, Al-Azhar University in Cairo, the centre of Sunni learning in the world and a preeminent source of religious edicts, Fatwa C Event 97, has stuck to its moderate tradition and broadly condemned 9/11, the killing of civilians through terror attacks in Iraq and the use of mosques to preach violence. Alright, okay, so Al-Azhar, Bastion of Islamic Moderation, test Egypt, and then we would give -2 funding or -4 funding if no country under Islamist rule. And there's no country under Islamist rule, so we're going to get -4 to their funding once we've tested Egypt. So here, remember the initial test is 1 to 4, it'll be poor. It's a Muslim country. 1 to 4 is poor, 5 or 6 is what we want. And we get 2. So it is going to be poor Egypt. Remember, it starts neutral. So poor neutral Egypt increases the poor Islamic back to 7. We're going to add -4 to the funding track. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now it's in moderate. So the next 5 cells that go back to the track are not going to be accessible unless they can get their funding back up. So that's good. That's good for us anyway. Right, that's our 2 cards played, both for events. None of them getting removed. Maybe I'll just stop in there. Yeah, I'm going to just stop and restart though. And try and push on, see if I can squeeze in this second part. Yeah, okay, so that was our 2 card plays. They got the reserves for that card that they played. Okay, I'll stop there and then just going to stop and restart a new part. So I'll be back shortly. Cheers.